Troy, can you, and I'm sure I know you expressed after the win over Cincinnati, but just as we go forward, can you express just how important it was to end the first half of the season with that kind of result and that kind of environment? Because in a lot of ways, it shocked a lot of people, and you responded. The team responded.
Yeah, listen, I said this post match, and I'll reiterate. I thought it was probably in my year and a half time with the club is probably our biggest result. They're a club that's been at the top of the table. They're currently at the top of the table and have a ton of talent within their team. And I thought we did an excellent job on the night of not only trying to minimize their ability to go in attacks, but I thought we were really efficient as well on the chances we created, and we still want to create more chances. I thought we were really good on set pieces the other night, and we're gonna need to continue to be good in that phase of play to generate more goals throughout the rest of the entire season. But I think it just shows that our group is capable. Our group has a lot of self-belief. You say the word shocked. I don't think internally anyone. We believe in ourselves to go and be able to compete with anyone. And in order to get a little bit more of that confidence externally, I think we need to produce more results like that. And so that's kind of the next piece of this conversation is that for that not to be an outlier, for us to be able to go and put together a good performance at home versus Chicago, regardless of the number of guys that are not in the squad this weekend. We need to build off of what we did this past weekend. And I think we've created momentum at different points during my time, but not sustained it. And that's something that I think we're all aware of going into this weekend.
And I apologize for that use of the word shocked. I just I'm not as good as I used to be in live television or radio. I wanted to ask about set pieces because we give Zach Prince, if I'm correct, he works a lot on your set pieces, and we always talk about that on the broadcast. And obviously, Connor Antley goal resulted in that. Has it become more of a I mean, set pieces always have been a big part of scoring, but am I wrong? And it seems like the last 10 years, that part of the game has become more sophisticated in how you approach it as coaches, or
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I think, by the way, your use of the word shocked, I think that's very accurate, Dave. In terms of maybe externally, the point of view of everyone of us getting a result like that, and it's up to us to change that narrative, by the way. But for set pieces, that phase of play has become monumentally important. I think in every single country at the international level, you're seeing more and more coaches be hired specifically for that phase of play. And this is something that Zach, since we started working together in New Mexico, he's had a big part, or played a big part rather, in being able to organize us and orchestrate some of the attack and set piece plays that we've been able to have, and this one the other night's very creative. The first one is one that I think the guys actually on field saw where the space was, and they were able to kind of create that moment. But the second one was very specific to something that we saw, and Zach was able to highlight, and then we were ultimately able to go and execute. And that it doesn't matter if it's set pieces or any other phase of play. That's really what it comes down to as well, is when you see something, can you take advantage of it and be able to perform in the moment.
well, and you mentioned biggest result in a year and a half or whatever, however you termed it. It obviously doesn't just happen by accident. It is part of that, you just talked about players on the field making decisions, because ultimately this is a game where you can't call 22 timeouts and change things. Are you noticing more freedom to make the right decisions, or how does the biggest result just doesn't come by accident?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the play of Gabby early in the match and his last two matches in particular. I think he's showing more of his personality. We talked about that about a week ago in terms of just needing more personality in the group. And so when you feel confident, when you feel like the group is looking for you, I think that allows you to go and make decisions on the field. David Schnegg has been fantastic for us the entire season. He creates so many ball wins high up the field for us every single match, and particularly in these last two matches. And he's starting to get more final third delivery to the right players at the right time, and that's what we expect him to do, and that's what he's capable of. So I highlight these two players because I think these two players are pivotal in what we try to do, and particularly this weekend versus Chicago, we're going to need both of them to be on point.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Dennis Gomez.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Troy. The Gold Cup released the 60-man roster for the all the nations, and Randa Leal appears on the Gold Cup preliminary 60-man roster. Has there been any discussions with the Costa Rican Federation about letting him participate in the Gold Cup?
Nothing other than the preliminary roster. That's all that has been communicated from their end to us.
Awesome, thank you. And then I just want to talk about Connor Antley, just how Schnegg and Herrera have been participating on the attacking. Just how what has Connor demonstrated to you in the last few games where he even scored the goal winner against Cincinnati?
Yeah, I mean, Connor is someone that we signed late in the process last season, at the end of preseason, and what you saw really quickly from him is he's someone that's been working very hard in his career to make it to this level, and he's someone that's capable of playing at this level, and now he's showing he's capable of making an impact at this level. And he was doing that prior to his injury that he picked up last season in May against Atlanta, and that was a big loss for us whenever he went out of the squad. Not only because of what he can do on field, but what he does in the locker room every single day, and the energy that he brings. And for him to get his first MLS goal, and for it to be the match winner, and the way that he played for 90 minutes, I think this is very important for us this going into this weekend. I just keep bringing it back to this weekend because we're down so many different numbers, and we're going to need Connor to step up again.
And the last one from me. What are some of the strengths that you've identified from Chicago, and how are you planning on restricting them?
Yeah, the past two matches, I think when we look at New England, we look at Cincinnati, there's so many different playmakers in different areas of the field for both these clubs. And I think Chicago, again, has playmakers high up the field that can make the difference in the match. So Kuipers, Bamba, Gutierrez, these three stand out every single week for them. And trying to figure out ways to not allow them to come into the game is very important. And so Cincinnati, New England, we did a good job with some of their playmakers. We're going to need to be able to do that again this weekend. And just, as long as we're synchronized and we're working together, I think we can make it difficult on any opponent.
Thank you, Troy.
We'll go back to Dave Johnson.
And his coach is Connor Antley is undersized, become his official nickname, and certainly not undersized in terms of heart, as we talked about on the broadcast. What a joyful moment given the context of how he had the road back. You must have been.
How did that make it back to you, man? How did undersized make it back to you? How did you get a hold of that one, Dave? You get all the information, man.
Yeah. But that shows, as you and Ali identify players. I mean, coming back from that injury to where he is now, that's Bruce Murray talked about it. That's a lonely road, and boy, he's not lonely right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can measure a lot of things. You can measure height, right? But you can't measure the type of willpower that someone like that has and carries every single day. And whenever I mentioned that in the pre-match, whenever we were identifying that could be a mismatch, that was absolutely a compliment, because I think it speaks to probably people not valuing him the way that we value him. He's a weapon for us. And so I like his personality, the way that it comes out. Whenever he scores that goal, he goes directly to Zach. He lets me know about this undersized comment. But he's just a pleasure to work with, and embodies a lot of the values that we believe in as a club.
And what can you share with us? As you mentioned, going to be numbers down. What can you share with us in terms of who's out or questionable at this point?
Yeah, I mean, we know the guys that are on international duty, and that's 5 players, and 4 out of the 5 have started many matches for us. So we know that we're down numbers there. Christian's still out, as is Lucas McNaughton. Peglo will be out. We brought him off at halftime the other day, and we're still seeing where he is for probably the next week or so. Jackson Hopkins isn't going to be back in just yet, so that's another player out. So you're talking 9-10 players, and 8-9 starters within our group, and so it'll be challenging. But I've said this so many times before. I mean, we want all those guys to be fit and healthy and in our team, because we know that can create the best version of ourselves But at the same time, I think we have to focus on who's ready to go this weekend, and in order to get a result. And I believe very much in every single guy that's going to be available this weekend.